desirable. Perhaps even more importantly, if they should be worried about everything that could come out of those very same processes. Smelting. The act of turning one thing into something more useful, whether it be chemically or thermally. After effects be damned. Chapter 1. Dusk. Twilight. Those last few moments before night descended, plunging the world into darkness. Perched behind the wheel of her faded '94 Honda Accord, Kyla Wegman leaned forward to stare out through the windshield, squinted her eyes, narrowing them to little more than slits, tried to focus, received little to no improvement for her efforts. "What the hell?" she muttered, easing her foot down onto the brake, pulled up to the light blazing red above her, pressed both palms into her eye sockets, and left them there until pops of light appeared behind her eyelids. At 31 years old, she was far too young for her vision to already be failing her. She didn't smoke, ran at least 3 times a week, ate fruits and salads as often as her budget could afford. Her most recent physical had displayed excellent blood pressure, cholesterol levels, lung capacity. Still, for whatever reason, she found herself in this same position with increasing frequency. Rubbing her eyes vigorously, trying to wipe away the gray fog that would pass through like smoke during summer fire season. Behind her, a single blast on a horn erupted, pulling Kyla's hand from her face, a twinge of embarrassment passing through. Feeling the palpitations rise from her stomach and up through her chest, she raised a hand in apology between the front seats, raised her foot from the brake and started forward anew. 3 months had passed since her move to Missoula. With the closing of her divorce, she had left her lifetime home of Anaconda and moved west. Decided to, as her mother put it every time they spoke, give big city life a try. The phrase still brought a smile to Kyla's face each time she heard it. The town was no doubt larger than what she was used to, but still a far cry from being considered a big city. At just over 100,000 people in the whole county, she wasn't entirely certain it could even be called a city. Despite the lack of stature the town possessed, there was a certain undeniable charm that Kyla found infectious. She had been looking for a new start after things went sideways with her childhood sweetheart, someplace free of accusatory looks and prying questions. Missoula had already proven itself to be that and then some. Unlike most of the other burgs and metropolises dotting the gem state, Missoula was a college town, attracted people from across the country, even a handful from much further than that. Created a melting pot of ideas and energies, the kind of environment Kyla had never known, found herself growing more curious about with each passing day. Recently, a coworker had even pointed out that the company they worked for offered a pretty solid tuition assistance program should she want to consider enrolling at Montana in the fall. Just as it had the first time it was mentioned, the notion brought a smile to Kyla's face. It allowed thoughts, ideas, visions to fill her mind. All that was and would never have to be again. Like becoming her own person, free from the dreaded label of just being someone else's wife. The smile remained in place as Kyla rolled west along Brooks Avenue, the southernmost thoroughfare of town. At just after 6, most of the evening rush hour had already thinned considerably, if such a thing even existed in Missoula. Coming home to find her cupboards empty and the fridge containing only a few items that looked to be well on their way to becoming penicillin, the plan was to make a quick Albertsons run, grab whatever she needed, be back home in time for Grey's Anatomy, one of the few guilty pleasures she couldn't help but indulge. With those thoughts in mind, she rolled forward, watching as the last of the sun disappeared before her, taking the final sliver of orange light below the horizon. Along with it went any